Hi, welcome to Happier Ladies, a podcast where we discuss all things related to the Happier and Happier in Hollywood podcasts.
We're sisters
And super fans.
who can't get enough happier.
So we created our own podcast to keep the conversation going.
I'm Malika Amandi, a SoCal native living in Western Massachusetts, a new mom, and an entrepreneur. I'm here with my sister, Azizi Williams.
That's me. I live and work in the LA area. I'm a not-so-new mom, and I'm an education professional in the independent school world. So Malika, I have a question for you.
Yes.
All right, I have to do some decluttering. This is March. This is organization in the Happiness Project we visited. And I thought it might be fun if we had a session where we decluttered something together over Zoom.
Oh.
Wait, what? You're not excited about this? I thought it could be fun. I could have a closet and then I have you on Zoom and then maybe you also have a closet or something else. And then we're encouraging each other through the decluttering.
You sound too excited about it. I think it would be good. I need that. It will be fun, but from here it feels like, okay, if I have to. But I think I do have to.
Of course you don't have to, but I thought it could make it more fun if we did it together as opposed to not doing it together.
It will. You're right. And I do have to. I really want to. So sorry for my lackluster
Okay,
response.
you saved it. So do we have a date? Are you in?
Yeah, let's figure it out.
Yay. This will be fun. Maybe we'll have snacks. We could have the same snack. Maybe
Okay.
we could have themed snacks. There's all kinds of things.
Uh, take it down a
Party.
notch.
It's a party. A declutter party.
It's a party.
Okay.
All right. What happened on Happier this
So
week?
in Happier, episode 472, Liz and Gretchen share about what they learned from their No Spend February. They talk about the strategy of going for a walk when having difficult conversations, and they offer a listener suggestion involving your non-dominant hand.
I really liked the section about trying a walk for a difficult conversation. And I think this was very solid and timely advice for me. I am a very direct communicator, and I think you are too, Azizi.
I am, and I'm so surprised that not everybody wants to just talk about the thing that's hard, but it turns out they don't want to.
Exactly. When it comes to difficult conversations, I feel like I'm tapping into my superpower. I'm willing to sit at a table, look you in the eye, and talk about anything at length. I can take notes and I can hone in on our action items and let's drill down to find a solution. But I forget not everybody appreciates directness at all times. And Liz and Gretchen's conversation reminded me that it's better to adapt to the style of the least comfortable person in order to start the conversation. And just practically speaking, if somebody is having to overcome a different communication style in order to talk about the thing that's hard anyway, then you're just not going to get very far. So I tried this over the weekend. And I think the conversation wasn't as productive as I would have hoped, but everybody is still at the figurative table. And that's actually more important, especially for an ongoing challenge.
Well, congratulations to you for utilizing this strategy. And even though it's not getting to things quickly or resolving the issues right away, it might slow things down a little bit, but you were being generous and doing it in a more indirect kind of slower pace with a walk. So I think that's fantastic.
Thank
This is
you.
a good strategy also. And I think they may have mentioned it if you have to have conversations with kids.
Mhm.
Teenager, definitely easier to do it while you're walking the dog. But the other thing that works is driving. When you're both not looking at each other, you're going somewhere, and it's a little easier to have conversations then for the same reasons, I think.
Yeah, they talked about that, how driving, especially just that side by side, moving forward, but there's no pressure to look each other in the eye, that's really conducive to kind of somebody letting their guard
It's
down.
making me think like sometimes I have to have difficult conversations in my office. And I'm usually sitting across from the person, but there's two chairs that are sort of positioned in the same direction. And maybe I should try to not have to face them head on and maybe sit next instead might be easier.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe easier for some folks. Something
Mm-hmm.
to think about.
What stood out to you in
Yeah.
that episode?
I was intrigued by the listener who shared that she only does the crossword puzzle or her word games when using her left hand because it's her non-dominant hand. And so she's sort of strengthening that muscle, but also adding a little bit of friction to that activity. But then I wondered, is that really friction for me? Because I am right-handed, but I think I'm really good with phone stuff with both hands out of necessity already. So I'm not sure. But did you want to try with me, Malika? We could do like a little Wordle and see. Are you any slower? What do you think? Do you think you're going to be slower with your left hand?
I don't think so. I feel like for some reason with the phone, it's just very skilled on both
Yeah,
hands.
I think we've pushed through. We've
Through the
dealt with
barrier.
any challenges a long time ago. Yeah, like I'm doing it now.
Me
Pretty
too.
easy. Maybe it's like a hair slower, but we'd have to figure out some other friction to slow us down. Maybe if we had to do it in another language, like if I had to do the word game in Spanish, that might slow me down and build up a skill at the same time. But I am multi-handed when it comes to the phone. I could do your tasks both ways. What happened in Happier in Hollywood this week?
On Happier in Hollywood, episode 356, Liz and Sarah introduce the concept of priority whiplash. They speak with author Chelsea Gooden about her work on teenage wisdom, and Sarah offers a helpful product for glasses wearers.
Wow. So priority whiplash really resonated with me. That is my work. That's the nature of my work. There's some predictable things that happen in the year, which I love, that there are seasons and just things that happen annually that you can predict and anticipate. And then there are always things that happen that you just have to manage and deal with, and that shifts the focus suddenly. So that's something that definitely resonated with me. What about you, Malika?
Yeah, I think I experienced that not just at work so much, but shifting between work and parenting and being engrossed in something at work and then getting a text from daycare that Indy's not doing well and needs to be picked up. Then it's just like, whoop, all right, whatever I'm doing here, I just got to leave. And yeah, the priority changes in the day. And I think this is still very new for me. I've only been a working parent since September, so not even a full
Yeah.
year. Right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
but in my connecting with other parents, I feel like, at least with little kids, that never really goes away. More been like,
Yeah.
oh, yep, that's how it is. That's just what it is. So I'm getting used to that. I really like the metaphor Liz gave of like, you're on a train going very fast in one direction, and then you stop, you get off of that train and go right on another train in a different direction. That feels
Yep.
really familiar.
Yeah, it's interesting because my kids are older, so I don't have the whiplash is not coming from that realm of my life anymore.
Hmm.
And so when I was listening to you talk about it, I could remember, oh, those were the kinds of things that I did have to manage or fit in or pivot to. And that's not so much the case anymore. The other thing that resonated with me about this concept was they shared how when you have priority whiplash, when you have to change priorities so drastically and so suddenly, that does prevent you from finding flow and from really getting to feel like you're in a rhythm. And there can be a kind of grieving for that.
Mm,
I've learned that when you have to switch gears and go in a different direction, there's a moment of feeling lost for what you were trying to get good
mm,
at or where you were going. That is important to just acknowledge for the people who are experiencing the whiplash with you. Sometimes it's important to acknowledge, oh, right, we were doing this thing and we were trying to get better at it, but now we just have to do this other
that's a
thing.
good point.
Sarah is my colleague in overbuying. She's my, not
Ollie,
really colleagues, but not colleague. Colleague's the wrong word. She's
kindred
my
spirit.
partner. No, not my partner. Kindred spirit. She's out there overbuying. I'm with her. I'm for it. And Nerd Wax, as soon as she said it, I was like, I need that. I need that immediately. I am a glasses wearer. My glasses are constantly falling off my nose. I'm intrigued. I'm not 100% convinced, but I definitely want to try it. It's this wax that she described you put on your nose and it prevents your glasses from sliding down your nose. And this is a constant issue for me. So I'm curious. I will look into
Report
buying this
back.
product.
All
I
right, we
will.
are going to take a break. And when we come back, Azizi will share a shortcut to happy. Azizi, how's your dinner game these days?
Well, Malika, I used to struggle with what to cook for dinner.
You're cooking now?
Okay. Actually, my husband used to struggle with what to make for dinner. I mean, meal planning, grocery lists, yuck. But then we found Prep Dish. It's a weekly meal planning service that tells you exactly what to cook. And now they've partnered with Instacart, so your grocery list becomes a ready-to-go online cart.
Oh, what's in your cart, Azizi?
All of the prep dish ingredients, plus I can add energy drinks, chili crisp, lipstick, whatever, and check out in just a few clicks. Shopping online is so fun. The meals are family-friendly, healthy, and super easy to prep. Dinner is easy to make, and now we look forward to new tasty meals.
Prep Dish is offering our listeners 2 weeks free. Just head to prepdish.com/happierladies to sign up. Again, that's prepdish.com/happierladies.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Okay, we're back. Our next segment is Shortcut to Happy, where we share a simple strategy that will make you happier. And something that I've been thinking about a lot is Qtip.
What is Qtip?
So Qtip means quit taking it personally. It's an acronym. And the concept of Qtip is that the behavior of someone else is not about you. And if you can find the space to remember that or to practice that, not taking personally someone else's behavior, research shows that you can avoid burnout and that you can get through stressful situations more easily. So that's what Qtip means.
Can you give us some examples of when you would use this?
So there's some basic kind of simple everyday moments, like you're in line at the cafe and the cashier is rude to you. That's a moment where you might take it personally, get upset, react to that person's rudeness. Or it can be you're driving. Maybe someone cuts you off or is tailing you. I'm in LA, so there's a lot of driving scenarios where there's behavior that you could then think like they're doing this personally to me. That's a moment where you might take it personally. So then there are also examples, a lot of examples around work. Maybe your boss didn't say good morning to you. Maybe you felt like you were left out of a meeting. Maybe someone gave you feedback. And those are all scenarios where it's very easy to take it personally and to think that they are personally doing something to you because of who you are. It can create a lot of stress. It can create a lot of anxiety. So those are some examples of when you might want to apply Qtip.
So I can see the value of having this kind of mantra, quit taking it personally. But how do you actually do that? What are some of the strategies?
So I found this great article from psychologist Joel Schmidt, which I will link, and he breaks down some things to remember to Qtip. And I also have my own thoughts on them as well, some things that I've thought about over the years.
So number 1, question your assumptions about what happened.
When something happens to you, it is human nature to assume the worst. Immediately, you assume the worst. For the example of my boss didn't say hello to me this morning or didn't smile at me this morning, immediately you think, I'm going to get fired, or my boss does not like me. There's something about me that causes behavior. And it's just human nature. So it's good to just remember that and understand that that's what your brain will do. And there's this other strategy that I have practiced over the years and that I share with everyone I can. It's called the Rule of 6. I learned it from a teacher, Shari. Shout out to Shari. And she learned it from someone that she practiced with. Basically, what you do is you take your hand, you open it up like you're about to give someone a high five. You open up your hand. You have 5 fingers, but you also have your arm. So that makes the 6. Okay. You're with me? I'm trying to describe this visual over a podcast. So I'm looking at my open hand, and what you do is you take that scenario, that thing that happened to you. My boss did not say hello to me. Just imagine that being in the middle of your palm. And then what you have to do is come up with 6 reasons why maybe that happened. And your arm is the first one, which is usually the worst one. Like my boss hates me. I'm going to sit with that. I'm going to put that there. But then I have to come up with 5 other reasons why maybe my boss did not say hello to me. Maybe they were busy or distracted. Maybe they were just really hungry and a little dysregulated. Something happened to them. Maybe they're going to come back to me and they know they're going to come back to me. You don't even have to get through the whole 6. but just coming up with a few other reasons beyond the most difficult one or the most negative one is going to help you feel better about that scenario and take the emphasis off of you personally. So that's one thing to remember. And the other thing is something that Brene Brown talks about a lot, which is your perception isn't always truth. You should be curious about what you think is real or what you think is the reason for an action or an exchange. And Brene Brown uses the language of the stories you tell yourself. You should be curious of the stories you tell yourself. And you should say it that way. So sometimes if something happens to me, so if my boss or someone doesn't say hello to me, I might say, oh, the story I'm telling myself is that they're upset with me, so that I can remember it's a story and it's not real. I don't know that it's real. And that helps.
So the second strategy is to extend empathy.
So it's helpful to remember that people are doing the best that they can in the moment with what they have available to them. And it's easy to think about things like hunger or tiredness, or maybe something's going on in their life that is bringing them pain. And that's really the root cause of this behavior that you are now receiving. So that's a form of empathy. You're trying to remember that people are dealing with things that you can't even imagine or know, and that can make it hard for them to show up or be their best self in the moment. And you're also sort of putting yourself in their shoes a little bit and then thinking, wow, all of the things in their life that have caused them to show up in this way, I have empathy for whatever they're dealing with or whatever they're struggling with. And that also can help you to not take their behavior personally.
The final strategy is to keep your power.
It's a good reminder and a way to not then be reactive to someone else's behavior. So you've questioned your assumptions and you're remembering that there's a lot of reasons that you don't know or other stories behind why they have this behavior. You've extended empathy and you are remembering that whatever's going on in their life or the things that have caused them to respond this way, you have empathy for them. And then the last thing is you want to keep your power. So you don't want to just react and have their negative behavior cause you to give up control of how you respond. And something that I say to parents sometimes of kids and adolescents, I encourage parents to extend empathy to their kids because their bodies are causing them, their brains are developing, and that causes them to show up in different ways or to try different behaviors that aren't great, and that can cause you stress sometimes. But the most important thing is to not go to crazy town with your child. Just because your child is showing up in this way or trying these behaviors or coming with big emotions, sometimes it's important to not go down with them in that same way and to keep your control and maintain your composure. Have empathy for them, but don't also react and lose your control in that moment. And another way to look at it or another strategy is to practice some emotional distance, a little bit of emotional distance. And actually, this is something that I got from Elena Aguilar, who as a coach for teachers and for administrators, and she talks about compassion fatigue and how you can really burn out if you are constantly pulled by the emotions and the actions of others. So just try to think about how you show up and how you can maintain control, even when the person who you're dealing with or interacting with, maybe there's some negativity there that they are exhibiting.
I really resonate with this one because I think it's counterintuitive that by not reacting, you would be keeping your power. I think sometimes it feels like the power is in the reaction and yelling at someone or snapping at someone. So I think this is a really interesting strategy that the opposite is true, that by kind of holding back your reaction or taking the time to consider or breathe or pause before you respond, that's actually giving you power. And I think I had a mentor tell me in relation to coaching conversations, like a similar thing around emotional distance, and that it's so easy to get wrapped up in somebody's narrative of what's going on. And I think especially if you are a teacher or a parent or a coach where you're in the role where you're trying to help somebody navigate their story or make a good decision, like you really can't get too sucked up into the narrative because then you can't be helpful, right? If you don't have a foot on the ground or a little bit of objectivity.
Yeah.
The kind of metaphor she gave was to imagine there are blinds in front of you, the kind of blinds in front of a window, and that they're open, and that before you meet with the client or before you have the conversation, you just turn the blinds a little bit so they're kind of down. You can still see who's outside, but you're not getting everything directly, and that can kind of protect your own judgment. So I think that's an important thing that in the heat of a moment is very hard to remember.
You just turn the volume down just a little bit. And I think that these strategies are designed to create a little bit of space so that you can think about how you want to react or respond, because we can be so quick to respond and then realize, oh, actually, if I'd had a little more time before I responded, maybe I would have done it differently. So giving yourself some time to really think through, why is this happening? Do you really know why this is happening? Imagine how is it if you're in the other person's shoes, and then also just not being reactive, giving yourself some space before responding. Those are all good strategies for Qtip to stop taking things personally.
And that's phenomenal advice.
Thank you.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Our next segment is Inbox, where we share tips and reflections from listeners. So we got a couple yoga-themed suggestions from listeners. I shared in an earlier episode that this year, 2024, is my yogi year. That's my theme of the year. And so I've been asking for suggestions along the journey.
Okay, what did they say?
One listener, Erin, recommended a book called The Yoga of Parenting by Sarah Ezrin. And the byline is 10 yoga-based practices to help you stay grounded, connect with your kids, and be kind to yourself. And this book, it just speaks directly to me. I mean, it could be the yoga of parenting for Malika. I love it. I'm still reading it. I'm in the midst, but it's really about the integrated mind-body awareness experience of parenting and connecting the dots between yoga poses and parenting philosophies. So things I was thinking about organically, but here someone has thought about it much more thoroughly and is presenting more strategies and approaches. And I'm eating it up.
Fascinating. Yoga poses and parenting philosophies. Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, what else was in the inbox?
Another listener, Joelle Fixon, wrote in after hearing episode 24 and said, I had to smile when you opened this week's episode by talking about yoga and your respective preferences. As a yoga teacher on YouTube, I've pretty much heard it all at this point, and there are definitely lots of people who either prefer standing yoga or supine yoga. So either way, you're in good company. I specialize in short and sweet classes to help people feel and move better, so I thought I'd share a few of my favorites from my channel in case they could be helpful.
What's supine yoga?
Supine means lying down. I tried 2 videos on her evening playlist, and I love them both because they are designed to do in the bed, which is just a dream. You don't even need a yoga mat.
Wow.
You're already in bed. Shavasana, ending pose, just leads right into sleep. You know, it's beautiful.
Funny.
We'll link her suggested videos in the show notes. She gave 3 recommendations for me because I like yoga lying down, and 3 recommendations for Azizi because you like yoga standing up.
Well, this is so helpful. Thank you very much, Joelle. I look forward to trying it out. I've been doing a few more standing yoga videos. I do it a few times a week, and it's still like, wow, revolutionary that once I solved that problem that I don't like to lay down or I didn't want to get on the ground, it opened up this whole new world of possibilities for yoga for me. So thank you very much for sharing those videos. I look forward to trying them out. All right, let's take a break. And when we get back, we will do peaks and valleys.
Now it's time for peaks and valleys, because in life, there are always peaks and valleys. This week is an even episode, so Azizi, you are up first with a peak.
Okay, so my peak is CDs, compact discs, those things from
Wow.
the 90s that we collected. And we had so many of them. We had binders to hold them all. And then we all got rid of them once the digital music took over. Once digital music sort of came into play, we realized we had no more use for CDs and they were taking up space and collecting dust. And so we donated them all and got rid of them. Anyway, I'm speaking for myself. Some of you may have held on to your CD collections. I got rid of all of mine. And also, just CD players weren't around anymore and they're not in cars anymore. And so we kind of had no use for it. So a few years ago, I'd say about 2 years ago, my husband bought a record player that also had a CD and cassette player in it. It's like this 3-in-1 combo.
Nice.
And then I was at the thrift store and I noticed the CD collection and I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy a CD. It's like 25 cents or something. This is not going to set me back much. And I'm going to buy a CD. It was a CD from my youth. I think it was like a Janet Jackson CD. And so when I got home, I played it and it brought back all these emotions of the 90s, right? It like brought me back to high school. It brought me back to just feelings that I had when I used to listen to that music. And the revelation is for me, music is important to me. And I use music to lift my mood or just to pick me up. And when I listen to music on Spotify or on Apple Music, I usually just pick out my favorite songs. And so you create a playlist and it's got just random songs from different people that you like, because in a whole CD, you didn't usually love every single song. However, when we were younger and would listen to CDs, you would listen to the whole thing. And the artists arranged the songs in a particular order to create a feeling overall, or to kind of bring you up and take you down. And there are sad ones and happy ones. And so when I listened to the whole CD, it was like, this feels so good. It feels like I'm having a
Mm,
conversation with the artist in a way that it doesn't when I'm just listening to my playlist. And of course, this would be the same for a record as well, if you're a record listener. But now, every time I go to thrift stores, I am amassing CDs again. I'm starting to look into CD racks. Like I'm just totally going backwards.
oh,
I
man.
know. I'm going backwards, but there's nothing like popping in a CD while you're making dinner, while I'm studying or doing work, and just letting the artist tell me the story through their music that I have a newfound appreciation for.
That's great. I mean, the last time I listened to a CD, I was at your house
Right.
and it was, I think,
Right.
Nora Jones or something, but
Yeah.
it felt like such a different vibe to be in it. You know, you're like along for the ride. You're going to hear the whole album, and it felt slower in a certain way,
Yeah.
in a very nice, refreshing way, which I enjoyed.
And of course, you could do this also digitally. You could listen to
Right.
the whole album on your phone or whatever, but there's something about putting in a CD that I just can't fully describe or understand that makes it feel a little different. But I guess I would encourage you, if you're not going to buy CDs, to listen to the whole album of artists on whatever device. What's your valley, Malika?
So my valley is that it feels like my systems are slipping away. I
Mm,
think I've lost some of my New Year luster and the clarity I had a couple months ago. And I haven't been able to protect the time to plan like on a weekly basis or monthly basis. So that has just left me feeling like behind the 8 ball, and I'm just dealing with things as they come, which is not my preference.
mm,
Some of this is because of the nature of life right now and the sicknesses and dealing with unexpected things. But I think for myself to feel good, I need to take at least a little bit of time every week to think about the next few days, what is needed,
mhm.
and ideally the next few weeks. So I just want to put that out there as a valley. I'm feeling a little bit in the weeds right now, but I'm hoping to get back on track in March. And the good thing is, like, I have systems to go back to. You know, it's not that I don't know how to feel organized again or how to feel like I'm in the driver's seat. It's just more of taking the time to reconnect to those tools.
Yes. Oh, sister, I know it. I know it. March, like what happened? But also going back to what we talked about earlier in the priority whiplash, the number of times that you have been sick and Indigo has been sick, and you've had so much to deal with. So I definitely want to make sure you're kind to yourself in this valley. And I know that you'll come out of it.
Thank you. Well, that brings us to the end. Azizi, let's leave on a happier thought. What are you going to try this week?
I'm going to do a standing yoga video or two. Thank you so much for sharing them, Joelle. I look forward to that. What are you going to do, Malika?
I think I'm going to listen to an album all the way through. Maybe during my commute, just pick one and let it go. Let it play.
Lovely.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you like us, rate, review, tell a friend, and don't forget to follow us.
Send us a message at happierladies@gmail.com and tell us something you liked about Happier and Happier in Hollywood this week.
Our show was edited by Magnus Bjorgum, and our theme music was created by Wyatt Mutsey.
And we also want to give a special shout out to Gretchen Rubin, Liz Kraft, and Sarah Fain for inspiring our conversation each week.
You can find us on Instagram at happierladies and on the web at happierladies.com, where you'll see the show notes for this episode. All right, Azizi, have a happier week.
Have a happier week, Malika.
Bye.
Bye.
And when we come back, Azizi will share a shortcut to happy.
I love this part. Okay, we're back.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.